Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day. Today I wanted to do a short video about a book that I read recently, a book that I'm currently reading, and then a book that I rejected. I DNF'd it. And I want to sort of share my thoughts on that with you. So here we go. Okay. Last month I read The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This was, well, it's a very popular book, and it was also recommended by a couple of friends of mine. And so I decided to pick it up. It is nonfiction about a woman and how she grows up in a very untraditional family, and the sort of problems behind her childhood and what caused that to happen, and her experiences as she and her family are traveling all over the United States and finally settle in West Virginia, and it doesn't go well. And how she sort of comes up out of that. It is very reminiscent, for me, it is very reminiscent of Hillbilly Elegy, although their perspective is very different, and this is better written. This is a beautiful story, but in the end, she comes to really consider what should society's response to poverty be. And there's just there's a moment where she's asked that question, are the liberals right or are the conservatives right? Do we need to help people out? Do we need to do everything that the government can to support these people? Do we need, on the other hand, have they done it to themselves and they need to work harder, or is it somewhere in between? And her response is that it's real, maybe it's neither of those things. And her story, I think, proves her point, that it is neither of those things, and there's a lot more going on than you think there is. The complexity of just one person is too high for you to analyze it from either the left or the right, and I thought that was an excellent way to look at such a complex problem. So I absolutely loved it. It might be the first nonfiction book I read this year, so clearly I'm not doing great on my reading 12 nonfiction books. So, one down, and we are 4 months into the year. And then I want to talk about a book that I DNF'd, and I'm pretty sad about it because I had hoped to absolutely love it. But I finally took my bookmark out of the Sparrow. This is a sci-fi book about a priest who goes to space, and from the science fiction perspective, I thought it was brilliant. From the religious perspective, I thought it was really interesting as well. And I liked the way the timeline worked in this novel. You meet the priest in the year that he returns from space, and something absolutely devastating has happened to him, and you don't understand what it is. You just know that it has ostracized him from not just the world as a whole, but also from from the Jesuits, which is the group of Catholics that he belongs to. And so he's completely ostracized from them, and we don't really know what happened. Slowly throughout the story, you do get more and more information, but it flip-flops between the present future and the future past. Does that make sense? Anyway, it flip-flops between like 2070 and then 2020, which I really enjoyed, because it is, it's the most interesting sci-fi futuristic story that I've read, and I found it very interesting because part of it takes place today. I liked the way that the author flipped back and forth between the different timelines. I liked the insight into the Jesuit community. I liked the insight into the scientific community, but I didn't like the just total preoccupation with sex in this book. And it's not vulgar, but it is a little ridiculous. And I don't know, maybe the author was going through a thing when she was writing this book, or maybe, I don't know. But there's only so much I can read about an angsty priest wanting to have sex with this beautiful scientist before I get super bored. And I feel like it's just a little too much of a mix between genres for me. If I wanted to read a romance book, I would read a romance book. I wanted to read a sci-fi book, and that's not really necessarily what you're getting, because so much else is thrown in and it's not done tactfully. And it was just, in a moment in the story where something really cool is happening scientifically, all the people are thinking about is who's having sex with who. And I'm not in high school anymore. I don't really care who's having sex with who. But so I DNF'd it about maybe 150 pages in, so I was quite a chunk of the way through. But even 150 pages in, we had just met the aliens, and I just thought that a lot of the periphery stuff going on detracted from the bulk of the story, which is unfortunate. Again, maybe in the hands of another author, this could have been awesome. And maybe I'll come back to it in a couple of years because I want to know what happens with those aliens. But it's not for me right now. And then I want to talk about a book that I have started, and I want to work my way through over the next couple of weeks, which is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Now, I would say this name Evelyn, but I listened to part of the audiobook, and they say Evelyn. So I'm gonna go with the audiobook reader. He probably knows what's up. I am really enjoying this book because it's a mystery, and the main character wakes up in somebody else's body every day, and he has to solve the mystery before the story ends. But what I really like about this book is the writing style. I think the author is hilarious. He is very witty, and I just enjoy the way that he is describing different scenes, the way that the character is sort of getting used to being in his own body, and he doesn't remember anything. And as he's trying to take steps forward to fix a problem that he is experiencing in the book, it's hilarious and it's well written, and I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. However, I'm not very far into it. As you can see, he hasn't even woken up in anybody else's body yet, so still in the first section. I am in the middle of working through the next set of BookTube Prize books that I was assigned, and it's going, it's interesting. I think I am enjoying reading this set a little bit more because the writing is definitely better. On all the books I've picked up, the writing is much better. But that's not to say that I am enjoying all the books I'm reading. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I'm looking forward to finishing up those books, but obviously I can't really discuss them right now. So that's what I have read, what I am reading, and what I will not be reading for a little while. So let me know what you guys have been reading, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.